We spoke about the dark patterns in the previous video. Remember? Or did you see the previous video? To quickly brief up again, dark patterns are those confusing designs on the forms which lead to a wrong decision or not a decision of choice. Like for example, pre-ticked checkboxes, confusing subscribe button, invisible opt-out buttons, right? They all impact the consent and therefore the privacy. So we are going to discuss the impact of the dark patterns and how we differentiate dark patterns with a valid consent. Valid consent is something which is the most important thing in maintaining user privacy. Welcome to my YouTube channel where you daily see a new content privacy. And I think I have introduced this video too much, so I'll not waste any further time on this. So what is a valid consent? A valid consent is a valid permission from the principal that I want to process your data in a particular manner to give you a particular outcome. That's the purpose of me collecting your data or processing your data. And therefore, the permission from you has to be very well informed. So you should be able to understand the purpose very well, which is a part of the consent form. Unambiguous, it should be freely given. You are not under any pressure or any threat and you have given me a consent because of that. The consent has to be by the choice of the user, and it helps process the data by choice. It's a mandatory core principle of data privacy. You need to be very, very careful about managing the valid consent here. The core principles of valid consent: clear and affirmative action. This purpose, this outcome. Do you allow me to use your data? Yes. Indian DPDP Act says that for every line item service that we are providing, we need to tell the purpose and obtain a granular consent for every line item. So it has to be very, very specific, very, very informed. That means the purpose has to be very, very clear to the principal before he gives his consent. The language, very, very simple. English, Hindi, any regional language where your form is being used. Multilingual if your form is used across the country, because in India there are many languages, by the way, or dialects you can say. Easily withdrawable any time or any point in time of running processing. If I think that now onwards I don't want my data to be processed this way, I should have the option to withdraw my consent. How does it differentiate from dark patterns? So dark pattern is intended to confuse the user, manipulate the user, right? I tried to use a softer language first, but actually if you are designing it that way, that means you are trying to manipulate the user decision. Whereas privacy says that user's decision on a form, which is consent form, has to be precise, purposeful, well informed, not manipulated. So like we talked about dark patterns in the previous video, pre-filled or pre-ticked checkboxes and smaller or hidden type checkboxes or opt-out boxes. And while pressing the submit button, the user did not realize that. Logically, Indian DPDP Act, every service has to have a separate point consent, so cannot be mixed. Legal status, it's illegal, by the way, to use dark patterns or confusing. Very, very clear and precise forms have to be there for consent under privacy. Absolutely clear. And I say that almost twice earlier. DPDP Act says there has to be a consent for every line item, right? So it has to be detailed, clear, purposeful. That makes it fully compliant, and that is called taking valid consent, which is a part of data privacy. And as far as trust is concerned, if you can take my consent using a dark pattern today, you may use it once, twice. If there is any loss to me, I can approach judicial system or Data Protection Board of India and get you into trouble, or at least get myself out of trouble. So it is better not to use dark patterns when you are designing your consent forms and build trust with the customer. Building trust and relationship is what is more important while you are doing business than actually playing tricks with your customers. So that's a difference between dark patterns and valid consent. I hope you like the content of my video. Please press the bell and the like icon. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and share your feedback in the comment section. Thank you.